My father-in-law gave me a camera once and it sat in my bag for months because I was too scared to use it. Now that camera actually ended up changing my entire life, but only once I stopped being intimidated by it and actually picked it up. Now a decade of shooting and teaching thousands of photographers later, then here's exactly what to do if I started out in 2026. So when my father-in-law gifted me an old Canon 60D back in 2015, I was so intimidated by it that it just, sat there for months. And embarrassingly enough, I even brought it with me on trips. It was in the bag, ready to go, and I still didn't touch it. I just kept shooting with my phone and my then old GoPro because that camera felt hella overwhelming. But then one day I mustered up some courage and I just sat down and decided to learn it. And honestly, it was super basic, like embarrassingly straightforward. Because my friend, at the core of it, understanding your camera comes down to one simple thing: the exposure triangle. We have aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Just 3 basic settings, and that's the foundation that everything in your camera is kind of built on. Now I understand and I know from first-hand experience that this sounds daunting when you're new to the craft. I totally get it and I've been there, but it's a lot simpler than it looks and sounds. So if you're totally new, what you need to do right now is to watch a few tutorials, especially from your favorite sexy Icelandic gin, but then go out and shoot manual for a few days and it will just click, I promise. And when I say manual, I mean manual mode. Because the thing is, shooting in manual mode, it forces you to learn what each setting actually does and why, which is without a doubt one of the fastest way to properly understand your camera. Because you can't let the camera decide everything for you. You, my friend, have to make them big decisions. And that teaches you fast, and it's not big decisions, it's very simple. Now, currently, I don't shoot in manual mode all the time anymore. These days, I mostly actually shoot in aperture priority because it fits my run and gun style a lot better. Keep in mind though that the modes of a camera, they're just tools and not a flex, and you should find the one that serves your purpose the best. But learning manual to begin with, it gives you a basic understanding to actually make better choices and make choices properly down the line. But here's the thing, my friend. Understanding your camera, it's just the starting point. Because knowing how to use it and actually improving fast are 2 completely different things. And the next tip is the reason my photography changed faster than almost anything else that I've ever tried. By the way, if you want to become a better photographer for free, then I send out the weekly emails. They're short, fun, easy to read, and packed with value. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can find the link in the description, and it's totally free. So back in 2017, I made a simple decision. Post 1 photo every single day for a year on Instagram. No days off, no excuses, just 1 photo every day for 365 days straight, aka the 365-day challenge. Now the goal was simple: getting Instagram famous and getting myself some broads. The goal was basically to force myself to pick up the camera more, shoot more, and then edit more. Eventually, or the main goal, to learn faster. And the thing is, it worked faster than I expected, honestly. Because, my friend, here's what happens when you commit to something like that. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect location. You just shoot every single day. And that volume alone accelerates your growth in ways that no tutorial ever could. And the thing is, you make a lot of mistakes. And that is the whole point. And for me, somewhere there in the month 2 or 3, somewhere there of that 365-day challenge, I remember taking a photo and thinking, okay, I'm starting to understand at least something here. If you can see this photo, it's not the best photo, but it has a clear subject. The elements are working together. The light is pretty awesome. And I'm not just snapping photos of whatever it is in front of me anymore. And the thing is, once that switch flips in your head, you're not shooting randomly anymore. You're making deliberate decisions. Deliberate. I'm getting good at English, But even more excitingly than that year ended up with doing something to me that I genuinely did not expect. You see, a local watch company in Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden, where I used to live at the time, reached out to me on Instagram. They've been following my work, they liked what I saw, and they asked if I could help them out. Now, had I done professional photography before? No. Did I tell them that I had? hell yes, you know. In life, you sometimes got to fake it to make it, my friend. But there is a little catch to this, and here's the thing. Prior to getting into photography, I'd spent years working as a professional magician. So I know the freelance world pretty well, and I know how to show up and deliver to clients. So I wasn't really faking it. I was just transferring confidence from one creative world to another. But my photo skills, they were not professional at the time, you know. And the thing is, it went really well. They were actually really happy, and they ended up hiring me again. And that validation is something that I needed at the time. And it came from just showing up every single day for an entire year with my camera. Now, the 365-day project is incredible for building momentum and volume early on. But here's something I noticed during that year that changed how I thought about photography completely. So, a photographer friend of mine, David Moore, who is also a member of the Darkroom, which is an online community I run for photographers, he likes to say this: "Stop shooting like a tourist." He's from Scotland, and that was my go at a Scottish accent. I'll see myself out. Now, the thing is, the first time that I heard this, "stop shooting like a tourist," it just stuck because it perfectly describes something I see all the time. And it's something I was absolutely guilty of doing when I started out myself. So, you know what tourist photos look like. You're walking around, you see something pretty, you take up your phone or your camera, whatever, and you take a photo. You see a nice tree, snap. Cool street, snap. Beautiful mountain, snap. Basically, there's no real thought behind it. You're just reacting to whatever it is in front of you. And look, there's nothing wrong with that if you want just collecting memories, but at some point, if you want your photos to actually improve, something, my friend, has to shift. And that shift is this. Before you raise your camera, ask yourself one question. What is the subject here? Not what's in front of me, not what looks pretty, but what is the actual subject? The one thing that this photo is about. Because, my friend, once you define that, everything else becomes intentional. How do I build my photo around it? What do I include or what do I remove? Where does it sit in the frame, and what type of light is hitting it? Composition, light, depth, layers, all of that only works once you have something clear to build around. Otherwise, you're just applying techniques to random scene. And here's something that I really believe. Simple photos are often the strongest ones, but they're also often the hardest one to create because you have to be really intentional about everything that stays in the frame. I mean, a busy photo, it can hide all of your mistakes. A simple one, it exposes everything. Now, once you understand this, the next question obviously becomes, how do you actually improve this systematically? And how do you turn intention into instinct? And that, my friend, is exactly what this very next tip is about. By the way, if you're new to photography and you want to learn in 14 days what took me months, even years to figure out, then the 14-day photographer will help you out tremendously. It's a beginner's course built in 2 parts. First, we have the essentials, like camera basics and the fundamentals of what actually makes a good photo work. And then we go on a 14-day shooting journey together where me and you go out and practice together every single day. At the time of the recording, hundreds of photographers have already gone through it, and the feedback has been absolutely incredible because the truth is you learn best by doing. And that's exactly what this course is built around. So, my friend, if you want to skip months or even years of frustration and start taking photos that you're actually proud of, this is linked then down in the description. So, once you have the basics down, then this right here is, in my opinion, the most effective way to keep improving. And the best part, it's incredibly simple, like ridiculously simple. So all you have to do is just to pick one thing that you want to become better at, or get better at, you should say. And I'm talking about just one. It can be a composition rule, a technique, an understanding of light or color, or anything else. And then all you have to do is to just practice it. Only that one thing, and you practice it deliberately, repeatedly, and until it becomes second nature. Now I call this the repeat method, because here's the problem with most people. They simply try to improve everything at once. Composition, light, color, setting, depth, all at the same time. And because attention is spread across everything, nothing actually sticks. You see, focused practice beats scattered practice every single time. For example, last year I focused heavily on understanding light. I'm talking about how light hits a subject, how it falls off a scene, and how it creates depth. And then the year before that, I focused a lot on color, and I wanted to understand the relationship between tones and how to be intentional with what's in the frame and how much space, each color should take up. Now, I'm not saying that you need a full year on just one thing. Even just a few focused days or weeks can help you improve things much more than you might expect, you know? And the best part is you can always, of course, revisit things that you already know. For example, last year I spent, I think, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks on just focusing on the good old rule of thirds. This is something that I already understand pretty damn well, but I still managed to find new depth to it. And the thing is, the goal is instinct. We want to be out there and not thinking through a whole checklist when you're out in the field. We just want to know what the scene that we're trying to photograph needs. And that thing doesn't happen in just one session. It builds up slowly until one day you realize you're not thinking about it anymore, you're just doing it.
The power of repetition, my friend.
But here's the thing, the repeat method only works if you actually go out and shoot regularly. And one of the easiest way to make that happen costs absolutely nothing. Now this one sounds almost too simple, but honestly it might be one of the most impactful habits on this entire list. And it's that you need, or you should, take your camera with you everywhere, every single day. Not just on photo days, not just when the light is absolutely gorgeous, but every single day as a part of how you move through the world. This should be in wherever, on your body, in your bag, anywhere. Just take it with you. Personally, I try to never leave the house without carrying a camera because you never really know what you're going to find. I mean, one evening I was walking home from my old studio during an absolute snowstorm in Stockholm, and I'd recently bought the Sigma 85mm 1.4 and I had it with me, and the atmosphere was just absolutely incredible. We had heavy snow, empty streets, and everything was just quiet and cinematic. And I ended up coming home with 3 photos from that walk that I still love. And none of that was planned. I was just, walking home. And then, of course, there's my kids. I got 3 of them, and some of my favorite photos were never planned. They're just, life happening, and my camera, it was with me, But even better than that, because you're always carrying a camera with you, everyday life becomes the perfect training ground. I mean, if you're waiting for the bus, you're walking to the shop, early mornings, whatever it is, all of that becomes perfect places to practice your skills. I mean, maybe you watched a tutorial the night before on leading lights from your favorite sexy Icelandic guy. And then you can practice it tomorrow on your lunch break. Or you want to learn light? I mean, every time that you step outdoors, it becomes a lesson. You can think, what type of light is it now? How is the light falling here? What are the shadows doing? You get the idea, Basically, the more that you shoot in real life, the faster your eye develops. And it's not because of anything special or magical, but it's just because you're putting in consistent reps in real conditions. And honestly, it just makes life a whole lot more interesting. Ordinary moments, they start to feel like opportunities. And that's really what photography is all about, paying attention. But here's the thing, my friend, once you're shooting consistently, what you choose to practice matters even more. And in this video right here, I break down the 5 things that will improve your photos faster than almost anything else. Watch it next.